In 1948, a mysterious event occurred known as the Mantell UFO incident. Captain Thomas Mantell, a Kentucky Air National Guard pilot, was flying a P-51 Mustang when he was directed to investigate an unidentified flying object spotted near Fort Knox. Witnesses described the object as large, metallic, and moving at high speeds. Mantell pursued the UFO in his plane, climbing to a high altitude in an attempt to get closer. As he ascended, he radioed back that the object was huge and moving too fast for him to catch. Shortly after, Mantell lost control of his aircraft and crashed, tragically losing his life. The official explanation was that he had been chasing a weather balloon, but this conclusion left many unconvinced. Alain Colas was a renowned French sailor, best known for his daring solo voyages. In 1972, he gained fame by winning the transatlantic single-handed race aboard the monohull Penduic 4. In 1978, Colas embarked on another ambitious adventure, setting sail in his massive trimaran, Manareva. However, on November 16, 1978, communication with Colas was lost as Manareva encountered severe weather conditions in the Atlantic Ocean. Despite extensive search efforts, neither the boat nor Colas was ever found. In 1996, in the quiet village of Kishtim, Russia, one of the most mysterious humanoid encounters took place. A tiny human-like creature, later called Alyoshenka, was reportedly found by an elderly woman called Tamara. The being was small with a large head and odd, wrinkled skin. Tamara claimed to have cared for the creature, feeding and nurturing it, until it mysteriously died. Soon after, local authorities confiscated the body, and it was allegedly sent to scientists for study. However, the remains disappeared, and no official record of what happened to the body was ever released. In 1954, one of the most famous unsolved mysteries in aviation occurred: the disappearance of British South American Airways Flight 513. The plane took off from Germany, bound for Brazil, with 57 passengers and crew aboard. Somewhere over the Atlantic, the aircraft vanished without a trace. No distress signal was sent, and extensive searches yielded nothing. Decades later, in 1989, the story took a bizarre twist. A Brazilian newspaper claimed that Flight 513 had reappeared, landing at an airport in Porto Alegre with the crew and passengers still aboard. But all were dead, and the plane showed no signs of time passage. The story was widely dismissed as a hoax, but to this day, the initial disappearance of Flight 513 remains an enigma. Marsha Brantley, a 51-year-old woman from Cleveland, Tennessee, disappeared in the summer of 2009 under puzzling circumstances. A writer and avid outdoor enthusiast, Marsha was last seen in June, but her disappearance wasn't reported until November, when friends noticed her prolonged absence. Initially, her husband, Donnie Brantley, claimed she had left him, but no formal missing persons report was filed until months later. Investigations revealed inconsistencies in Donnie's statements, and he became the prime suspect. Despite this, there was no physical evidence or a body to support a charge, and he was released after being briefly charged in 2013. Marsha Brantley's case remains unsolved. Jennifer Kessie, a 24-year-old woman from Orlando, Florida, vanished on January 23, 2006, under mysterious circumstances. Jennifer had last spoken to her boyfriend the night before, and when she failed to show up for work the next day, concern quickly grew. Her car was discovered abandoned at an apartment complex a mile from her own, but no signs of struggle were found in her condo. Surveillance footage showed an unidentified person parking Jennifer's car, but the figure remains unidentifiable. Despite extensive searches, investigations, and media coverage, no concrete leads have emerged. Over the years, various theories have surfaced, including abduction and foul play, but Jennifer's fate remains unknown. In 1969, Jim Sullivan, a promising American singer-songwriter, released an album called UFO, filled with eerie lyrics about desert highways, disappearing, and being taken by aliens. A few years later, in 1975, Sullivan himself vanished under mysterious circumstances. While driving from Los Angeles to Nashville to pursue his music career, he checked into a motel in Santa Rosa, New Mexico, but never slept there. His car was later found abandoned on a remote ranch, with all his belongings inside, but there was no trace of Sullivan himself. Despite extensive searches, no evidence of foul play or his whereabouts was ever discovered. The strange lyrics of his album and his disappearance in the desert fueled speculation, with some believing he might have lived out the storyline of his own music. Kristen Modafferi was an 18-year-old student who mysteriously disappeared in San Francisco on June 23, 1997. Originally from North Carolina, Kristen had moved to the city for the summer to attend photography classes at the University of California, Berkeley, and was working part-time at a local coffee shop. On the day of her disappearance, Kristen clocked out of her job at the cafe in the Crocker Galleria. She told her co-workers she planned to visit Baker Beach, but she was never seen again. Her belongings, including her unclaimed paycheck, were found at her rented apartment. Despite extensive searches and multiple theories, no significant clues have been uncovered. The Lost Island of San Juan refers to a mysterious and debated piece of land off the coast of the Philippines. Allegedly first sighted by Spanish explorers in the 16th century, the island was reported in multiple navigation charts and journals. The early explorers described it as a large island, ripe with natural resources and strategically located along shipping routes. However, after the initial sightings, expeditions sent to locate it repeatedly failed, sparking curiosity and intrigue. By the 18th century, mapmakers began to remove the island from their charts, as it could no longer be verified. Some believe it may have been a misidentification of other nearby landmasses, while others speculate that seismic activity may have caused the island to submerge. Its existence remains an unsolved mystery. Melanie Melanson, a girl from Woburn, Massachusetts, vanished under mysterious circumstances on October 27, 1989. Melanie had attended a party with friends in a wooded area on the outskirts of town. She was last seen at the party, but by morning, she was gone. Despite extensive searches of the area and numerous interviews with attendees, no trace of Melanie was ever found. Over the years, rumors of foul play and conflicting stories from those present that night have surfaced, leading investigators to believe that Melanie may have met with foul play. However, no one has ever been charged in connection with her disappearance. Japan experienced a strange sighting known as the Utsurobune incident. Fishermen claim they discovered a strange hollow vessel drifting near the shore. The object was round, made of wood and metal, and inside was a young woman with pale skin and red hair, wearing unfamiliar clothes. She spoke a language no one could understand, and held a mysterious box she wouldn't allow anyone to touch. The villagers, baffled by the encounter, speculated she could be a foreign princess, or a visitor from another world. After some debate, they pushed the boat back out to sea, and the woman was never seen again. Though some consider this a folklore tale, the detailed records from the time make it one of Japan's enduring historical mysteries. In 1954, a mysterious event occurred at Tokyo's Haneda Airport when a man arrived with a passport from a country called Taured, a place that did not exist. Confused, customs officials questioned him, but he insisted that Taured was a real nation located between France and Spain. His passport appeared authentic, complete with stamps from various countries, and he had documents supporting his story. Authorities detained him in a hotel while they investigated, but by the next morning, the man had vanished without a trace, along with all of his belongings. Despite extensive searches and checks, no evidence of his existence could be found. Patrick McDermott, the on and off boyfriend of singer Olivia Newton-John, mysteriously disappeared on June 30th, 2005. He was last seen aboard the fishing boat Freedom, which had set sail from San Pedro, California, for an overnight trip. Fellow passengers said McDermott kept to himself during the trip and was gone by the time the boat returned to shore. Initially, McDermott's absence went unnoticed, and it wasn't until nearly a week later that he was reported missing. His personal belongings, including his wallet and car keys, were found on the boat, fueling speculation about his fate. Despite numerous searches and sightings reported in Mexico, his disappearance remains unsolved. The Pascagoula abduction is one of the most well-known UFO encounters in American history. On the evening of October 11, 1973, two men, Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker, were fishing near Pascagoula, Mississippi, when they claimed to have witnessed an otherworldly event. According to their account, a UFO descended nearby, and strange humanoid beings emerged from the craft. The beings allegedly abducted the men, conducting examinations aboard the spacecraft before releasing them. Terrified, Hickson and Parker reported the incident to local authorities. Both men were subjected to police questioning, and their emotional responses were considered genuine. While skeptics doubted the story, the men stuck to their accounts for years, even as Parker avoided the public eye. In 1989, one of the most famous UFO incidents in Russia occurred in the city of Voronezh. Dozens of witnesses, including children, reported seeing a large glowing disc-shaped object land in a local park. According to the accounts, several humanoid figures exited the craft, described as being very tall and with 3 eyes, accompanied by a robot-like being. Witnesses claimed the beings briefly explored the area before returning to their ship and taking off. The Soviet news agency reported the event, sparking international attention. While skeptics suggested mass hysteria or a hoax, the number of credible witnesses made the event hard to dismiss entirely.